Well, hey guys, welcome to Bowhunting Soul. Okay, so I did a video about how to sharpen knives and broadheads and that kind of stuff with the Work Sharp sharpener from Work Sharp, obviously. Super awesome tool, but I've also, of course, mentioned that I like to do the sharpening with just a regular file and a ceramic rod as well. So for those of you wondering, this is just a mill bastard file. Okay, it's like a I don't know how long it is. Let's see. It is not too long. It's like a 6-inch file, right? So the key to doing this is, first of all, is practice. Okay, the first few times you're gonna try this, you're probably gonna get pretty frustrated at it. So this is a Zwicky Escalite. Okay, not super sharp. Okay, right now, and they're not all that great when you first get them either. They're not exactly the sharpest. Well, they're not the sharpest tool in the box. Let's put it that way, right? That's where that comes from. So if you notice, you need to kind of reprofile this. Now, obviously, this has been sharpened quite a bit, but I'm going to go through this one more time, and I'm going to kind of talk about the things that we need to do to this in order to get hair shaving sharp, like hair popping sharp. Okay, we talk about hair popping sharp, and these can be sharp, right? I mean, you can actually, I'm sure people would hunt with a lot duller. But I mean, you want like scary razor sharp, right? And you can get that with a file, and then we touch it up with either with a strop, leather, cardboard, that kind of thing, or I use like a little ceramic rod to get that. But let's back up to the basics over here, right? So when we're trying to sharpen something, we need to do two things. First of all, we need to make sure that the angle that we're doing isn't too, it's kind of shallow. If you do it too much like this, like an axe, right, it's just going to want to kind of wedge. That's a strong tip, but it's not necessarily a really sharp tip. The more you do it this way, right, obviously it's shallower, it's going to be a lot more, razor sharp at the tip. Now the edge retention isn't going to be as good, but again, we're probably looking to just like zip through this thing one time, through an animal one time, and then resharpen it, right? But you want it to stay sharp during that entire time. So what do? So it's tough to kind of get this thing to focus on here, but what I like to do, I kind of use the ferrule over here, right? Like this hump where the insert goes through, not the insert, rather the adapter goes into, right? This is it's just a regular, like I said, it's a 150, 145 grain. This goes in here. This whole thing's about 145. So the goal is to get the file, I don't know if I can show you this, I'm going to show you on the bench too. The goal is to get the file not super like steep like this, super steep, but it's like really shallow, meaning you're just barely, you can actually see the rub marks right there, okay? So the whole object of this is to get as shallow and narrow a point as possible, and you're not going to believe how much sharper and hair popping sharp you're going to get that. Now to get that, it's going to take some time. So I'm going to take you over here into the bench. I'm going to do a little bit of a close-up, and I'm going to show you the way I'm going to work it, and hopefully you can see if it can focus on here. I'm going to show you like the burr that it's going to raise, and then we do it on the other side, and then back and forth, and then so on and so forth. So let's go to the bench. Okay, I know it can be kind of a little bit hard to see. We're on my little towel over here where I've got, different broadheads and adapters and points and all that stuff. All that stuff needs to be assembled right now, but let's focus on this. I'm going to try and get as close as I can. I'm kind of behind the camera here. I'm kind of straddling this tripod, so I apologize if it gets bumped or whatever. But again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this file to rub along here as flat as possible, okay? So we're gonna basically start from here, and we're gonna push down hard. And I usually do this on my knee, on my thigh, not on my knee, on my thigh. And you can tell, like this moves, okay? You need a little bit of, you gotta have a little bit of feel for this, right? I can't keep it dead solid. It helps if I'm kind of bracing it. I've got it on like a broken arrow over here. It helps if you can kind of brace it, and I do this on my thigh. My thigh would be underneath here. Don't cut yourself, obviously. Just like anything I do here, do at your own risk, obviously. But if you notice, at least on these Eskimos and Escalites, you can see where these, where it kind of gets brazed, the two layers, the two levels between this layer and out here, you can see this kind of line, like right where my fingernail is, that line. We're trying to make that line disappear. Okay, so we're almost trying to make it like the two layers kind of fold into one. When you get a brand new one, I don't have a brand new one, there's a very defined line right there. And that's just too obtuse an angle. We need a shallower angle. So starting from here as a guide, push, 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 right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take you off camera here. I'm actually gonna sharpen this one on my thigh the way I normally do it. And then I'm gonna show you how this whole, this becomes just kind of one flat line. You can kind of see it's kind of it's kind of curved a little bit too. We're trying to make it nice and flat. And then that's gonna raise a burr on the back side over here, because it's basically gonna curl over, and then you're gonna raise a burr on the back side. I'll show you that. Okay, so I've done this side, right? Again, sorry, it's kind of hard to maneuver around here. I've done this side. Now I can make it a little bit flatter, but I'm kind of doing this quick. You can see it's still a little bit of a curve. I like to make it like dead, absolutely dead flat. But what we don't want is like this convex kind of edge to it. I don't anyway. And when you do this, if you notice, this little braised line where this piece of metal and that piece of metal have been folded over and brazed, it's become, let me show it here. It's become a really thin line. It's a nice, smooth, straight transition. You don't see as much of a pronounced bump like you do on this side, for example. This is just nice, flat. That means that you're actually at a nice shallow angle that you're trying to keep from this end all the way to this end, right? So this is going to be, you know, one kind of angle. You don't want it kind of curving or anything like that. What that does is, if you can see this, this little highlighted little kind of silver edge there? That's a burr. This right here, right on that. This is burr, right on that edge. Okay, and it goes all the way. It goes from the tip all the way down to the tail over here. Not as much over here, but you can see it, right? That is the burr. So what we're gonna do is what we did on this side, we're gonna do it on this side. Now, a couple ways to do it. Some of you guys may disagree. I'm right-handed, so it makes more sense for me to go up this way, okay, into the metal, into the edge, rather than coming at it left-handed. For example, this is the edge we're working on right here, and actually doing one of these. If I try to do that, I'm gonna hurt myself, because I can't really work my left hand with the file that, you know, that way. But to me, it doesn't really matter, because we're gonna end up with an awesome edge either way. Okay, so we've come, flip this around again. Here's the burr. This is the side that we did first. We went this way. We're gonna flip it over. You can see I kind of dished it out a little bit here. This thing's been sharpened a lot. So this is what happens when you shoot and sharpen, and you shoot and sharpen and all that stuff. Just because I like shooting broadheads into dirt and stump shooting and all that stuff with them too. I shoot them all the time. So now, again, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna come up, and I'm gonna come up this way and keep this angle again. It's kind of flat against there. Stuff to show. That's the angle that it's going to be. Okay, I'm going to do this edge, and what that's going to do, that's going to move this burr back over to this side. It's going to curl it back over here, but it's going to make this nice and flat and straight. All right, so now I went this side, which, even though I'm going up, actually still pushes a burr back onto this side. This is the original side that we did. I don't know if you can see it. There it is right there. See that kind of shiny line that you see at the along the edge there? Okay, that's the burr. So now we've basically folded it back over from this side onto this side. So what do we do from here on out? Well, I like to just kind of do like alternating, like lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter strokes. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you're going to do this, especially on your knee or on your thigh, or, you know, holding on with your hands or whatever, you may want to get a piece of leather or like some work gloves or something. I don't, but I mean, you can see like the calluses here where like I'm grabbing onto the broadhead like this, you know, and this just kind of keeps digging into here. So do this with, you know, use your own caution, right? So what we're basically doing is we're just gonna like move the burr, you know, one side, one side, one side, one side, just a few more times, just to get kind of like that. But I'm doing like really light strokes. We're just basically just trying to get that edge nice and even, right? It's back on this side again. And you can actually like backstroke, do one of these. And you're trying to get most of that burr to fall off. But I'm telling you, I can't get it all to fall off without stropping it or whatever. And it's mostly gone. But if you kind of go back and forth, these are real. I'm just basically using the weight of the file, okay? Even though it looks the same to you here, it's actually gotten a little bit thinner. You can actually go up into it, just like, you know, backstroke or forward stroke. It doesn't matter, okay? What we're gonna do in the end is gonna take care of that burr, okay? Goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like that. So you're gonna end up with a little bit of a burr that you absolutely just can't get rid of, right? So what I like to do, you can either strop this on some cardboard. Stropping means you take this and you go back, and pretend this is cardboard. Actually, it works pretty well on this towel too. Sorry, it's so dirty. But, you know, a piece of corrugated cardboard, and you go and you drag it this way and drag it that way, drag it this way, drag it that way, and it actually take that burr off. I actually like using one of these, you know, little, what is it, Lansky one? Yeah. This is like super fine. Some of these areas are even like kind of worn off here. I don't know if you can tell on the camera over whatever. Like this area is kind of worn off down to nothing. This is like I don't use this as a sharpener. I just use this as basically something to take the burr off of. So which side were we doing here? We were doing this one right here. So then this is just super light strokes, right? And all we're really doing is trying to get that fine burr off. Again, you can do this with a strop, leather strop. You can do it on cardboard. I like doing this, and then you can kind of strop it on your jeans or something like that, on your thigh. That works really well too. Now, it took me probably about 5 minutes per side. You know, obviously you didn't see me doing all that, but that burr is gone. It took me 5 minutes per side sharpening. Now you can see I kind of gouged, not gouged, kind of deeper a little bit here. It's tough to kind of get from here all the way down to here dead absolutely straight. If you had you know, like a jig or something like that, yes, you're absolutely going to get probably a little bit better, a little bit not sharper edge necessarily, because these are like razor sharp, but you can probably get maybe a little more even edge. But I don't really care. You know, these are more than straight enough, to be honest. And I just kind of go lightly back and forth, and you can kind of strop it on here. So now here is our edge, really sharp. And here's, I guess, oh, can I do this way? Let me see. Let's go this way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's gone. That's gone. Okay. All right, guys, so there you have it, okay? Just broadhead with one of these to kind of finish. Really fine ceramic rod, and just a regular file. I've actually kind of cut myself. See that? I'm kind of bleeding. So a regular mill bastard file, right? I mean, you can pick one of these up. Make sure it's a good one. Make sure it's, you know, not a Chinese piece of junk, because like a Nicholson file or whatever works really good. Now you're going to say, oh, there's better ways to do this. Of course there is. You can do it on a grinder. You can do it on a sanding wheel. You know, you can get like a screaming, like, you know, surgical edge on like a paper wheel or something like that on a bench grinder. Absolutely. I don't have one of those. And if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. But I think, you know, you really ought to learn how to sharpen with just the file. And then just kind of strop with whatever you have, okay? You can get an incredibly like hair popping, you know, hunt ready sharp edge with just, you know, a simple one of these, you know. And it takes time, okay? You're gonna get frustrated. Your angle's gonna be up and down kind of thing. You're not gonna, you know, when just practice on like an old broadhead, practice on one, and then you can actually feel, when you start to cut into it, you're gonna actually start to feel the metal start to, you know, actually like cut away. You know, you can actually feel the knife, or not knife, you're gonna the file dig in and actually start to cut away the metal, and then you're gonna just kind of get a feel for it. And then, like I said, it kind of moves around a little bit if you put it on your thigh or something like that. But do enough of them where you can kind of compensate for that, and you can kind of put a little bit of pressure, a little less pressure, that kind of thing, and you're going to get a nice, you know, beautiful straight edge. And it's a labor of love. Okay, I like doing this. I like sitting down here in my hovel hole down here in the basement, listening to podcasts and just, you know, cranking out these things and making them razor sharp. I've already got a bunch of them done. I've got like 4 or 5 more to do. And like I said, it takes about five minutes per side to get a nice edge, and then you know, another couple minutes or whatever, you know, back and forth, stropping, that kind of stuff. Make sure it's, you know, hair popping sharp. So there you have it. Okay, lots of ways to sharpen a broadhead. Pick one, learn it, but you know, if you need to do one in the field, learn how to do it this way. It's not a bad deal. Okay, all right, so if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate that, and let me know how you sharpen. All right, thanks for watching, guys.